Hey, happy Wisdom Drop Wednesday. Today we are going to be talking about keeping agreements with yourself and with others. This is something that recently came into my awareness from a course that I had done with Yana Robinson, who I absolutely love this woman. And it was just one of the things that she went over is the value of keeping agreements to yourself and what it means to keep it with others. And I personally am really good at keeping it with others, and there are some agreements that I break with myself. And so I wanted to dive into that very briefly today, kind of just like touching the surface about what that looks like and what that really means. So let's say hello to, well, first of all, how does that resonate with you? Do you feel that you keep agreements with yourself, and do you feel that you keep agreements with others? Let's dive in a little bit more. Examples of keep making agreements with other people would be, do you show up late to an event? That's a really big one. If someone's like, hey, there's some things where it's okay to trickle in, but like weddings, that's something you really want to be on time for, or baby showers, that's something else you kind of want to be on time for, birthday parties, right? Like sometimes we can trickle in within reason if we tell that person like, hey, I'm going to be late because I have another event right before. But if we say we're going to be there at a certain time and we're not, then we're ultimately not keeping that agreement that we have made with that person. And it is really important to say, hey, I'll be a couple minutes late, or hey, I have something right before, so I'm going to be switching over. I think in that case it's totally fine. But I've had it where the other one is canceling. Oh, that's a huge one. When you say you're going to show up and meet somebody for coffee or for tea or for a session or for something like that, and then last minute they cancel. And I have a dear friend who is a realtor, and she was saying she has 2 babies. Hey, Claire. So she has 2 babies, and she's a realtor, so she's running all over town. She's got to change the diapers, make sure that they're fed, make sure that they're sleeping. She's balancing so much, and she was like on her way to meet this client to show a house. And the client was like, oh, I don't think today's a good day. And she was so frustrated because they had made an agreement. So she was scrambling and doing everything she could that day to fit it into the exact time frame to make it happen so she could meet her client. And then last minute, the client's like, yeah, it's not going to work. The client broke an agreement. And what happens when someone breaks an agreement with you? You don't really want to do business with them anymore. You feel frustrated. There's a little bit of what you once thought of them was really high. Suddenly it's like, I'm not available for that anymore. I've had people do that. I don't think they realize that if someone schedules time in my calendar, if I'm saying yes to you, I'm saying no to somebody else, because people are constantly booking and I work full time. And so that appointment is very intentional for me, and I mentally prepare and I meditate the day before so I can be ready for everything that's showing up. And if somebody does not keep that agreement, it really hurts me, and it makes me frustrated, and it makes me sad because I had done the work to prepare for that. And I can also choose to release that, but it is something that happens, especially when we are going places and we're meeting places, which I've done that before too. I understand that there are some exceptions, and I've been that exception too, right? Where I've had a huge panic and anxiety attack on the way to meet somebody, and I was like, I need to honor myself right now. I cannot do this agreement with you. I cannot meet for coffee. Cannot do that. I need to protect myself because I'm not going to show up in a completely panicked, sobbing state, right? There's some experiences where that happens, but I think this is really important to notice in what areas are we keeping these agreements with others. And I have some questions that Yana had brought up that I will share with you guys as well. And hey, April. So another one is, are you keeping agreements with yourself? This is what blew my mind. An example is waking up in the morning. Do you say the night before, I am going to wake up at 5 a.m. or 6 o'clock, and then I'm going to work out, and then I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then when that time comes and the alarm goes off, do you just snooze and snooze and snooze? That's breaking an agreement with yourself. And how does that make you feel? Not very accomplished, and you start the day maybe a little bit frustrated because you had this little contracted commitment to yourself and you broke it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I do this all the time, where I set the intention and no one else is holding me accountable. Nobody cares, and I set my office hours to where I start working at 10:30. It's usually when I do my trainings. So I have my morning to get Presley to school and to take care of myself and all of that. So technically it doesn't really matter what time I wake up, right? But it does because I made that agreement to myself. And I feel that every time I fall through on that agreement, I don't feel good. And we want to provide ourselves with these opportunities to feel good, to lean in with every step that we take to be a better, stronger version of ourselves, right? So in what ways are you breaking agreements with yourself? What agreements do you have with yourself? So some questions here from Yana's workshop, which I loved, is, in what areas of your life are you really, really great at keeping agreements? I'm really great at keeping agreements. If I say I'm going to be somewhere, then I will totally be somewhere. I am really great with my clients too, right? Like my clients know that they can count on me. Like I'm always there and I'm available for them. How about for you? What areas are you really, really good at showing up for yourself and keeping? Do you guys hear that sound? We've had fires recently. I was being evacuated. I wasn't. Like places like the streets 12 minutes away, they were being evacuated yesterday. So I'm hearing these sirens and I'm like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if you guys heard that. Anyways, in what areas are you really great at keeping agreements? Which ones are you not great at? Let's evaluate that and say hello. Also, how is breaking agreements with yourself and the people around you, how do they hurt you? How does that hurt you? And what does that look like? What can we do about it? In the area of my life that I most want to strengthen my follow through and how I show up in this agreement is ... So just some food for thought. For me, what I realized is I was not showing up for myself recently, where I was getting enough sleep, but I wasn't getting enough nourishment with my body. Like I would just not want to eat, or I'd grab something really quickly. I have an agreement to honor and nourish my body, and I wasn't doing that or fulfilling it because I was wrapping up my I was just wrapping myself up with other obligations, and I broke that agreement. Same thing with waking up early, because I know that I feel really, really good when I wake up with the sun. And I also feel accomplished when I do that, because it's something that's a little bit harder for me, and I love doing it because I'm able to do more things before Presley even wakes up to go to school. So those are some areas that I really want to grow my commitment in, is nourishing my body and also waking up earlier. So I would love to know, how did this resonate for you guys? Give me some hearts if you really loved this. If you're interested in setting new agreements with yourself, brainstorming new ideas of how you can set different agreements with yourself, and really what your biggest takeaway is, because how we do one thing is how we do everything. So how we're treating others is a reflection of how we're going to be treating ourselves and our careers and our finances and our partners. And what agreements are we breaking, or which agreements are we holding true? I didn't even realize that it was an agreement for myself to wake up in the morning and wake up early. Like I did not realize that it was an agreement until it was framed this way. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. So with that, I'm gonna go pick up my baby. You guys just see it outside. It's like storming and it's gray and the trees are like, yeah, so I'm gonna go pick up my baby girl. Send you guys so much love and happy Wisdom Drop Wednesday. See you soon, bye.